Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, look at that thing. And if you're watching the video, my cat is front and center in the frame, and I'm very happy about it. Hi, buddy. Okay. Anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is my other host.
Chris Mack. What's up, guys?
And we are working our way through Sex and the City, and we are on season 3, the season 3 finale. Woo! After all this time,
Ding, 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 ding.
titled Cock a Doodle Doo.
Yes. Very. Ooh, man.
This choice. Was it the right one? Probably not.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see because this is one of those moments where, like, you really realize what era a show was made in because, a lot of the jokes and a lot of the subject matter in this, a lot of language. Yes, a lot of language in this episode in 2022 would be deemed offensive and insensitive, and would probably wouldn't even. This episode, even in being written in the writer's room, would probably get denied, to be honest.
Or at least heavily changed.
Yeah, that's for sure. It probably wouldn't be. I mean, I personally thought this episode was funny, but I also understand where people could, differ in that opinion. But I understand why too.
And it walks a fine line, I think, of sort of being like, hey, let's just cut to the chase. So Samantha's plot.
Yeah, we'll just start with her. Let's just start with her.
Let's just start with her.
Just get it.
Yeah, I feel like we're dancing around it for no reason. So Samantha's plot is she's being kept up at night by 3 sex workers outside her window who are loud, and they are referred to as transsexuals / trannies the whole time. Yes. I think transgender would be the correct.
Is transsexual now also offensive?
I believe it is.
God damn it! I thought that was like the perfection. I thought that was like the professional.
I don't
word.
think that's in use anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
But they're just loud. And she's annoyed by them, but it's like they make fun of them, but at the same time, she's not annoyed that they are transgender. It's just that they're making noise.
They're just they're just loud. First of all,
loud.
They're essentially are very loud gay prostitute black males. And here's the thing.
Well,
they're sassy.
Yeah.
They're because they're posted from what I remember, they are pre-op trans males, from what you said.
It depends. One of them is post-op, but I believe regardless if they're sort of dressing as women and appearing as women, that they are to be considered women and not.
No. I'm not saying, but essentially, what I mean is, like, if you break it down, like, they're not really making fun of them for being trans. They're making fun of them for being these loud ass black characters, which that also can be,
which is also not great either.
Because of course, like, that not only did they have to be trans prostitutes, but they also have to be like sassy and black and super, and snap finger neck rolly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So. And in like reality, it's like one of the most vulnerable populations in America is like black trans women. And they're like, look at these loud women down here. And as we said, tranny gets thrown around, which as people will recall, and he's actually never been taken to task for it, which I don't know if he's apologized. So like, I feel like that word appeared here, and it wasn't necessarily popularized by sorry, my cat's acting up. Popularized by the show, but the designer Christian Siriano on Project Runway referred to everything for a hot minute as tranny this, tranny that, tranny fabulous, and so on and so forth. And people just kind of said it and didn't care, and then and then it was like, and it was used, the way like the F slur and stuff. It's like it's not a great thing to be thrown around.
It's not, but I also don't think that you can go back and like fault someone for that, because again, these kind of discussions that we're having today were not being had back then. So like,
if they were continuing to use it, obviously a problem.
Samantha, the actress who plays her, wouldn't be using tranny today if she had known how offensive it was at the time.
Sure. And I think that we can acknowledge that within the show, because it was so they're treated as a joke, But again, ultimately, and like there are lots of jokes about them being, trans or transsexual as they're referred to in the thing, and pre-op, post-op, blah blah blah, ha ha ha. But to the show's minimal credit, and it is minimal. Like we said earlier, it's not the fact that they are what they are; it's just the fact that they're loud. Just loud. Like she comes downstairs one night and says, basically begging your pardon, ladies, would you mind moving down the road? You're keeping me up at night. And they say, no problem, and move down the road, and it goes great. But then they're back the next night, and then Samantha escalates.
Yes. Well, I mean, to be fair, I get where
I would be annoyed.
Coming from. Here's the thing. You know what though? In a way, I respect Samantha in the sense of she treated them just like human beings, because like she didn't look at them for like what they are, like being, a super minority, and just look at them as people who were being loud, and see, she made actions in accordance to that. Because at the when they came back and she's like trying to get it on and have an orgasm, they're just like super loud and being distracting to the point where she can't get a nut, and Samantha can't stand for that.
As
like,
they even
she's gonna have sex, she's getting a nut. Period. Like
that's the joke in the episode too. Is like they can interrupt her sleep, but they cannot interrupt her orgasm. No, that is a bridge too far.
To be fair, not mad at that. Like I get it. Don't fuck up my groove. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so she decides to pour water in a pot, and then not boiling water, just regular water. By the way, people, anybody who's like, watch the episode, to be clear, she didn't like try to scold these women. She just put some water in a bucket and threw it out the window, and it splashed one of the ladies' wigs off, which was hilarious, by the way. Like it was super funny, just because the other two bitches were like, "Nah, we out of here." Like,
they dodged like hardcore.
They just got the whole brunt of it.
Yeah.
Question though. To me, it was funny. To me, it was funny, right? That little moment. Do you think that would be considered a hate crime today?
I don't know, but I will. I will say this: having recently watched a TikTok all about like full on like wig installation.
Yes.
I'm furious on behalf of the sex worker.
For the wig dude.
I didn't know how hard it was,
dude. Wig maintenance is
I knew
like
wigs
a second job, bro. It's a second fucking job. If you're a woman who wears wigs, I commend you so much. It is a hard thing to maintain and make sure that it stays in pristine condition. So yes, her dropping that water, I would consider it a hate crime just because of how hard it is. Just because of the
wig. I in the sense of I don't think she was targeted for being transgender, so I think technically it's not a hate crime in that sense.
But it's somebody would try to argue for it in 2022 though. You know what I mean? Like somebody would try to argue for let's put the scenario in reality to this day. Even if she went to the court, especially as a white lady, it's a black trans prostitute, like super minority, and she's a rich white woman who is apparently paying $7,000 a month.
Oh yeah, I made that note too. I rewound that to double check. I was like, did she say $7,000?
She said $7,000.
Hang on, what is that?
And this is early 2000, so that's probably like 14 grand.
I'm gonna do the calculation right now. So let's say
at least
it's early. We'll say 2001, maybe.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give it 2001. Let's say 2001.
We'll say 2001. I can't remember where we are.
I think it was 2001.
I think it was 2001. So $7,000. 2001 is how much today? It's equivalent to $11,000 today. $11,112 if you're.
So essentially, she's paying what today's money would be like $11,000 a month. Listen, again,
how good is what I mean? PR business?
That's what I'm saying. These bitches are successful. What the fuck, bruh?
Yeah.
I mean, here's because I already knew Manhattan was expensive, but like $7,000 a month, and that's like. And here's like too. You got to remember, that's probably not including like utilities and shit like that. So you got to add on.
She owns this place, so she's not renting. Okay, that's slightly less upsetting, but not much.
Still. but I said, but that's what I mean. Like, I feel like today, if this is a reality thing, her being like a white woman of status and class, status and you know, privilege. Obviously, I mean, not like, you know, she didn't grow up rich or whatever. She's earning, but still, she would be seen as a white woman with privilege, and throwing water on a black trans prostitute probably could be worked around to be like some form of hate crime.
Yeah,
if they got the right lawyer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly argue it, you know, if they felt targeted because of who they were, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's kind of hard to argue Samantha's case that they're not targeted for being what they are.
Yeah,
you know, we see in the episode that it, you know, we know the character feels,
but nobody, but there was no other witnesses out there to see her, because like when she came downstairs the first time, she was polite, and they were, you know, she like
they complimented shoes and everything. It was a great time.
Yeah, so it was all to the good. But here's the game. Again, I still understand if I'm paying that much for an apartment and I ask you to leave and you're acting a fool, like I probably would have gone down there maybe one more time and asked politely, and then after that thrown the water. Yeah. Like she might escalate. She skipped a step. Yeah, she skipped a step. You know what I mean? Like that's where she would lose the case if this was 2022. You know, you skip one. If you came down there one more time and asked politely, or waiting for the cops to show up, like a true white woman. God damn it, Samantha.
Yeah. Well, she does call the cops, and they do.
She did, but they never showed up. Oh, no, they did. They did at like after she threw the water. The water, yes.
Yeah, and they do shoo them away.
Yes.
Rather gently for cops, but
see, that's another thing that would have fucked her. This is in 2022. She called the cops on a black trans person. Like, fuck. Even if that's not seen as even if she like won the case, she still would lose her job. You feel me? Like, because all they have to do is get on the news, and then they you know what I'm saying? Like, she'd just be fucked. She would be so fucked. Like basically, all she could do in 2022 is just let it happen, essentially, because almost any action would get her canceled, which I think is bullshit, to be honest with you. Like, that's like, you should be able to tell people who are being loud and disturbing your rest to go away. Yeah, especially if you're paying essentially what is $7,000 a month for an apartment. Hell, even today's standards, if I'm paying $7,000, you got to get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck what you got to do to make money. Like, do your thing, but don't bring it here while I'm trying to sleep. Every night at 4 a.m. No, you got to go. Like, I need you to, you know, take it easy. Need you to
move it on down the road.
Move it on down the road. Like, make your money, sis. We ain't trying to stop you from that. I'm just trying to stop you from stopping my sleep.
But the one sex worker does get her revenge by egging her window, which is so
and her face,
because Samantha opens the window to yell at her again and gets nailed with an egg, and I was like, that's pretty funny. But then, you know, but she realizes like this won't work. Like, she realizes the angry tactics aren't gonna work, so she ends up making peace with them and throwing a nice rooftop party at the end of the episode. Everybody's partying to have a great time. That's how the world should be, baby.
Fucking Samantha is the shit, dude.
Yeah, that's why she's the best character.
Like, she could have easily kept warring with this woman and kept, you know, the feud going
and gotten them arrested proper too.
Several times.
Because in that era,
technically what they're doing out there is a crime, so they would have gotten arrested for that. Technically, soliciting sex is not legal, which is bullshit. I think you should be able to do what the fuck you want with your body. All you have to do, what you should do, government, just like you did with marijuana, you should regulate it. That way it can be safer. That way women can sell their bodies and not have to worry about getting abused or raped or fucking murdered for the money, because then people will be watching it and it can be safer, like any other job where it has like an HR department and all that shit. Just saying. No argument. It's so simple. Simple.
That's so funny you say that. With John Oliver, just as of the recording of this episode, in early March of 2022, just did an episode about decriminalizing sex work, and
it's the dumbest. I don't understand. It's one of the most like profession that's been around like almost since human beings have been around. You know what I mean? And like the fact that you're telling somebody what they can and can't do with their body is ridiculous, because that goes with, that's like the same thing that we were talking abortions, the same thing we were talking about people who want to, you know, transition, like all this shit. Like, how can you tell me what I want to do with my body, especially if it's my money going into it? Like, fuck you. Yeah. It's retarded.
There's a lot of bills, as we know, the Texas, it's not a formal bill, but it's like basically like the fucking Gestapo coming in wanting to stop young people from transitioning and threaten their families for doing it.
I do think there should be like an age. Like, listen, I understand like at least 18. And that should be like the age of where it's allowed. Like, I understand like cutting it off until you're 18 because, like, let's be honest, your body hasn't developed. You're still developing development stage. Even at 18, it's not developing. But at least at 18, as we have established by law, you are an adult. So by then, you should be able to make your own decision. Until then, maybe even 17 if you, because like hell, you motherfuckers can join the military at 17 if they get their parents, you know, to sign some shit. So I feel like at 17 it should be the same thing. If I want to transition to a woman and my parents are cool with it and they sign the paperwork, nobody should have any say in it. This is our family.
Well, and what body. I understand though too is it's not even in the Texas cases in particular, it's not even that the young folks are medically transitioning. They're really just dressing in gender affirming manners.
That's not harming anyone.
No, that's the whole thing crazy. Though. It's not, and they're being psycho about it. Incidentally, I'm gonna put some resources for if you'd like to help people, if you are looking for help. In Texas or Idaho is trying to pass a really crazy draconian bill that would even criminalize people trying to go out of state to seek care for transitioning if they wanted to. It's not good. Crazy. So like I said, I'm gonna put some resources in the show info and notes and stuff like that to again, if you want to help people or you happen to be looking for help. Yes. Because it's terrible. And we don't like it. And 100%. We should all just have a fucking rooftop party with Samantha and crew, hosted by Samantha, and have a good ass time. I got
one negative thing to say about the rooftop party.
Is it Carrie's little accent?
Yes!
Yeah.
I fucking hated that shit. Yeah. I hate that shit because one, it's genius because I don't know if somebody wrote that on purpose or if that's just something she did as a like an improv as an actress. I hope it wasn't. I hope that's something they wrote in purposely to make fun of white women that do that around like ethnic women because that is something that not even just white women, white people do.
Yeah.
When they get around like a certain race of people, like, you know, even like when they get around black people, their body language becomes more rhythmic, you know what I mean? They're like, you know, they get on this, you know, when white women get around black women, they get a little sassier, a little snappy. It's like, ugh.
I try to pay attention to not do that.
It was, here's the thing about it. If somebody wrote that purposely to make fun of it, beautiful, genius.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did.
The show is not.
I think she was improv in that, thinking that she was super cute, and it wasn't.
She'll do this sort of vaguely like Bronx Latino accent, like, "Oh, how you?" I don't even want to do it.
Don't do it. Don't get us canceled. We're 40,000 strong on our videos. Don't kill our run.
I promise it was only for the purposes of demonstration and not a genuine like, I think this is fun and good.
No. Because here's the thing. Yeah. You can maybe like kind of fault Samantha because she kind of did it a little bit, but she didn't do it like a whole lot. She didn't like change her whole. She did it for one quick second, like, you know.
And it's still sort of like, dorky white lady.
It was
at the same time.
Like it wasn't. She wasn't like, oh, that's who I am. Like even when she when she turned around, she was just like, whatever, I'm going up. Yeah. She was just like, I'm just trying to go up and go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Just trying to get them to be quiet.
It was an olive branch almost as it were, where she was like, oh, she's like, your shoes of fear. She's like, don't I know it? And she went back upstairs. She didn't like do a whole ass. It's like even when Carrie was talking to the women, you can see the rest of the actresses being like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? When is she? Who's this?
Because the one of the sex workers is like, oh, you and the cute little flower, get up and twirl, haha, and like they're just having fun and like they're gonna do like a walk, you know, not even a walk off like model thing, but just sort of like, hey, you look cute. Show it off.
She did. Nice outfit.
She did. And, you know, summer in the city fun. They look cute as hell. I hated that moment too. I was typing up the notes. I didn't make a physical note of that, but if you're watching the video, I made this face.
Yeah. Yo, real talk. White people everywhere, stop. Just be you. Like, here's the thing. If you grew up around it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to judge, you know what I'm saying? But clearly, this character did not grow up around.
No, they've
the
made
Bronx.
It clear she didn't move to New York. She is not from New York.
Like you didn't grow up in the Bronx. You didn't grow up in fucking Harlem. What is this accent that you? This like faux Puerto Rican black sassy accent that you put on. Like, first of all, the women that you're even trying to emulate don't even sound like
they
that.
Don't even sound like that.
Like,
they just sound
also, what accent was that supposed to be? It was like all the boroughs of New York came together in one accent, and it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, how are you Brooklyn, Bronx? Fucking, like, you were like all the boroughs in one person. That's not how it works, bro. Yeah.
Like, no, sir. Didn't like it.
Did not like it.
No. I think I will say, I think when
I'm glad you noticed that, because it's good that you noticed it, because I definitely noticed, but it's good you noticed it.
And I'll confess, I feel like maybe when I was younger, and it was still honestly a different time where it was sort of like okayed or encouraged to be like, you're connecting with this other minority group by trying to imitate them. And I've been like, I certainly didn't do it all the time, but I'm sure there were instances.
And here's the thing, it's not, listen, as at least I understand, and I think most, especially Black women, understand. We know that you're not trying to do it to offend us. We know that you are trying to connect with us.
Yeah.
However, you can just connect with us just by being yourself.
Yeah. You know what I catch myself doing, not like overly consciously, but sometimes when people, like, the inclination is to say girl, like do that kind of thing.
But that's not a Black thing. That's a woman thing, I feel like, across the board, honestly.
I think, but it originated, with Black women. And
for sure. Yeah. So but they kind of let that go. They like, because everybody says girl, you know what I mean? Because even white girls be like girl, like, but not even like not like girl, but they'd be like girl, whatever. So it's still,
I tend to replace it with with dude, which is to me a gender neutral term. Anyway, I'll be like dude, like male or female.
Well, you did do that when we were talking about this. You're like, dude.
That's my go-to.
Elizabeth Stanton.
But then I'm co-opting it from California because I'm from Michigan, man. I didn't.
Oh man, get out of it. We ain't gonna go that. Like, we ain't go down that.
That's a far lesser sin. Anyway. And I say man all the time after things like I'm fucking Dennis Hopper in the 70s, man. It doesn't make any damn sense.
I don't think you're gonna get hit for calling people dudes. I mean, hell, even Black people say dude,
Yeah. I think I saw someone try to be, I'm just gonna say it if someone doesn't like it. Someone tried to be like, dude is not like it's gendering, and enough people kind of responded like, at this point, it's not. Dude is gender neutral. It is interchangeable for all folks. You can,
dudes, bro, motherfucker, bitch. Like, that's not.
Those are all kind of collective.
These are all. Yeah. Everybody can be a bitch. Everybody can be a dude. Everybody can be a motherfucker. Everybody can be all this shit. Like.
And guys, I consider guys. I know it is very male.
Sure.
But I say it with my girlfriends. It's, to me, guys is pretty gender neutral. Could there be a more feminine gender
even women
term?
like I've heard teachers refer to the whole class as guys.
Yeah.
Even like that's not, we're not trying to say like, it's not like the women or like the teachers are like calling out all the men in the room like because they're being allowed. So just say that everybody, like, it's just guys.
That's my humble opinion.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get canceled for even just saying that. Guys, you think guys is not?
I understand if people don't like it though. There's probably other alternatives, but I'm doing the best I can.
Yes, we'll take it. So who we go with next?
Do you want to do Charlotte?
Yeah, let's do it. Hers is the shortest.
Hers is the shortest. So they're having brunch, and it's the first brunch after she and Trey have separated. And they were only married for 3 months.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
And so that's kind of, and so, she's,
to be fair, that's something that would happen to Charlotte, because like she was just so like, I gotta get married. I'm in my mid-30s and I'm not married yet, and that's wrong. And so,
which is interesting when we get to the end of it, but we'll continue her little plot line. But she's talking about Trey, and then she's like, but you know what? I'm tired of talking about him and obsessing about him. Like, tell me about the sex workers outside your window, talking about putting things up.
By the way, the
Charlotte is broken.
First of all, two broken women in this scenario, to be honest with you, while they're at brunch, because even Samantha was a little bit broken because
she said the language was dirty.
Yeah, that the prostitute like out dirtied her. She was even like clutch the pearls. Yeah. What's going on with that? To be fair, that was like a lot of graphic image that prostitute laid out. So indeed. I get it. Like I was like, God damn, all right.
Yeah. But you know, Charlotte's saying like, yeah, tell me more about the women screaming, put it up your ass at 4 a.m. You know, our girl's defeated.
Oh, she's like she's shattered, dude. Like not just broken. She is shattered. You can't put the pieces back together.
Shell of Charlotte.
Because the fact that she even just like, what was it they were even talking about when she like funky spunks? Like she heard that and got out. That was too much for her. But she could handle this. Oh, she's gone, bro.
She's gone.
Trey broke her. Trey broke her down.
Trey broke her. So then later they're helping her unpack at her apartment because she and Trey, like I said, she and Trey are separated.
Yeah.
And there's more to it with Carrie and Miranda talking, but Charlotte says, men just say alrighty and move on. And I made the note, speaking of girl, I did write, girl, did you not hear how sad that alrighty sounded last episode?
Right.
I don't think she was picking up on how devastated that alrighty was.
He wasn't happy about this separation.
Like we recorded that episode like 2 weeks ago. I have come and gone from New York even. Fun times. And I'm still haunted by that alrighty.
Yeah, man. That was a sad alrighty. That wasn't like, all right, cool.
It was alrighty. Yeah. But anyway, they Charlotte is like, she assumes Trey is not obsessing over this and is just moving on lickety split, and then she's like, I'm over men. I wish there weren't any around because then there wouldn't be hurt. We wouldn't be obsessing. And she's done. Oh, because the thing she says at brunch too is they're like, well, you're single again. She's like, no, I'll never be single again. I'm divorced. I'm 34 and divorced. It's not the same.
She said it's worse than being single.
It's worse than being single, yeah.
Which is so shitty. Like here's the thing, because like of course like the girls let it go because they're she's in her sadness, so she doesn't mean it as an insult. But goddamn, that's insulting. Be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Nothing like it's already bad enough if you're single at 34, but to be divorced at 34, ugh. Like that's mean, especially to you with like your other friends. Well, minus Samantha, but to your other friends. To clearly the goal is to one day be married. Just be like, ugh, you're not even there yet. You're already pathetic. It's gonna be more pathetic if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. When in fact, if they didn't get married too young, they obviously got married too fast. But I don't think if it's not working, there's no shame, or there shouldn't be any shame.
There should be shame of it in general.
And calling it off.
If there's shame in divorce, why is divorce a thing? Like we should be in the shame. You know what I'm saying? Like there should be a thing that you can do. Like if that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So then she's kind of done for most of the episode until I kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie. Charlotte, she's home alone. It's like 4 a.m. apparently, but she's been up all night. She's reading. She can't really sleep or relax or anything like that. Who should show up at her door? But one Dr. Trey McDougal.
Yes. And he didn't show up. He came through. Okay, you get what I mean. Like he didn't just show up and like talk and was like, "Hey, I want you back." He came through with the boner. He was ready to bang it out.
I wrote, "He's finally turned on."
He was ready to go.
They're like kissing all over the apartment, and he apparently finally gets it up a bit. It seems. Maybe.
Enough to make it happen. Because next scene, her hair is disheveled. Clothes
she got
are missing.
The JBF hair, just been fucked hair.
JBF hair. I haven't heard that one in a minute. Thank you for bringing it back. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And he even says already.
I know after the sex. All right. But he says it in a sexier way.
Sexy like, already.
He's like, yeah, you knew what's up. He's like, yeah. I had it in me. Don't worry.
I love, which is that. Speaking of having it in him, he says he hadn't felt like that since before they got engaged.
Yes.
And Charlotte's like, "Well, is our problem that you didn't really want to marry me?" And he's like, "It's because I didn't really want to marry anybody, but he felt like he had to because it was time and expected of him because he's like also in his 30s. He's a doctor, all those things that
the family
tradition, and."
God, that's the worst some of the worst reasons to get married.
Terrible.
Like that's
but he says he doesn't regret marrying her or anything because he does really find, he says, I would have never found anyone as wonderful as you. Like he really, makes me feel better, because all those moments where they weren't intimate, and it seemed like, I was like, I thought he liked her so much in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like he didn't even just like her as a person. Almost.
Yeah.
And that was kind of heartbreaking, because like, well, I understand the sexual frustration, but maybe he at least likes you as a person, and maybe that wasn't coming through. And it's nice to see that he does in this scene. Yeah. Thank goodness, because like that would have been super sad. But but at the rooftop party, she says he's called 3 times this week already, and she really thinks he wants to get back with her, but then she's like, I'm obsessing, let's just have fun.
That's a hard one to navigate, because even if like I'm trying to picture myself being a friend to her, it's like, how do you kind of got to let her go through that alone, because honestly I don't have there's no advice that you could give other than let it play out the way it's going to, you know what I mean?
And I don't think any of them really know how to navigate that anyway. No, they just have no experience in that realm.
No, not at all.
Of having been married and separating or whatever.
That's weird though, because like also that's kind of that has to be a little bit of a mind fuck, because they're kind of on the brink of divorce, and that turned them on.
Yeah, I thought that
too. He's like, oh, raging boner now. Yeah. I'm about to lose you. Like, can't wait to unmarry you. Like, so maybe they should just go back to being a couple again. Like, the marriage and just be boyfriend and girlfriend again, and they'll have better sex, and then maybe eventually go back to be
well, and if they're not legally divorced or anything like that, or legally separated, if it's like a trial thing, then they don't have to try to like renew vows. It almost seems like marriage is what was killing his boner to begin with.
Right.
So if they don't have to like redo any of that, there's a chance.
Well, also he probably should maybe dive into why marriage kills his boner.
Yeah.
like literally the prospect of being married gives you erectile dysfunction. That's something that you gotta go figure out.
Gotta go hit up maybe a different therapist than the one who said name like your dick Schooner, but
right. Because the thing about it is if you're breaking it down, it's like, yes, the simple solution is to never get married and your dick will work forever, but like also that's not really, that's only putting like a band-aid on the wound. You kind of gotta heal it all together. And I like, because eventually, here's the thing. It's Charlotte we're talking about. So, okay, let's say a dream scenario, they get divorced and they stay a couple. Okay, fine. They go back to being boyfriend and girlfriend for a while, and they have great sex, and it's great. About 6 months in, marriage brain is gonna set back in, and she's gonna be like, "What are we doing here?" And it'll just be all over. It's just gonna be the same cycle all over again.
Yeah, good call.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other reason I liked this, his arrival at the door, is as a romance novel and movie lover, I love a dramatic entrance.
Okay.
And so it just reminded me, there's a Jane Eyre famous book, so many film adaptations. Most recent one had the girl who was in like Alice in Wonderland and stuff, the blonde girl. Mia Wasikowska, I think is her name. Yeah, I got it.
Sure.
And then Michael Fassbender, who I love. And he's like it's complicated. But anyway, she's like alone in a cabin on the moors in the middle of England, having been exiled there. And then she opened, like one night there's a knock at the door, she opens it, and he literally is like arms on both sides of the door and goes, Jane. And you're like, fuck yeah. And it turned out to be a dream sequence. And I was pissed.
I honestly thought that's what it was going to be in this episode. I was like, if Charlotte is having a sex dream, I'm going to be pissed off. Because I was so happy when he showed up. I was like, if this wasn't real, I'm going to, like, I'm done with this show. We're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. I'm not Trey was giving me that vibes, because he was just about both hands on the door frame, like Charlotte. And I was like, hey, see, this is again why I continue. I just like Trey. People I don't think like him as Sex and the City boyfriend. And I understand he's definitely got his issues, as they all do though. But I just like Trey, darn it.
He has his issues, but overall, like,
he's not a bad guy though.
His overall
some vibe of them are bad guys.
It's awesome. Yeah. Like, honestly, and even the issues he have aren't like toxic, can't work it out issues. These are clearly issues that they could work through if they just get to the root of it and stop trying to like be rich, waspy people and you know pretend that the problem isn't there. That's really their only
everything.
Stop.
They're trying to suppress everything.
Burying in the shit and go deal with your bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway. That's Charlotte and Trey. So at the end of season 3, we've got some hope for them, and that makes me happy.
I'm happy about that very much.
So Charlotte and Miranda are kind of intertwined. I don't know. Or not Charlotte, sorry, Carrie and Miranda.
Yeah, a little bit. So I guess we kind of could talk about them.
Do them both at the same time.
Collectively. Yeah. Go. Let's go for it.
So for starters, Carrie is awoken by roosters crowing outside her window.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Because that's sort of the theme is like being kept up at night by overthinking, and roosters are, I guess, a metaphor for that. And so her apartment is like animal hospital adjacent.
Wow.
And she even goes to the animal hospital, is like, is there a way you can bring them inside? And they're like, oh, well, we had them outside because they were in a cockfighting ring in the Bronx. But if you want, we can put them in the basement. And she was like, whoa, I feel bad about that. Now you're making me feel bad about trying to...
Which is, it's so like, first of all, you had the gumption to come there and complain. But then as soon as you heard that they might have PTSD from being in cockfights, all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, don't put them in the basement. It's like, like, here's the thing. That kind of level of like when you like feel guilty, like that kind of shit, that's like a privileged white woman thing. It's like, oh my god, the animals, they were in fights. It's like if she was like a southern white woman from fucking, like if there was like that the lady that fucking Samantha met a couple episodes back from the South, she'd be like, put them chickens in the motherfucking basement so they don't like they're chickens. I'm not saying that chickens don't deserve to be, you know, in a good place, but it's like they're in the animal hospital, they're not fighting anymore. I think they can handle a basement.
And the vet even says, or the vet or whoever it is at the front desk even says, like, they have a good life.
We can move them to the basement, they're fine, they're gonna be taken care of, like whatever. Also too, it's like you're not really doing anything. She's like, oh, they need fresh air. It's like, well, they're still in cages, so you didn't say shit about them coming out of the cage.
So, to be clear, they're sitting outside in cages. So they're not exactly like
they're not free range roosters just walking around the roofs or walking around Manhattan. So, you know, check your privilege, by the way.
I have 2 funny chicken rooster related stories. So my aunt and uncle who lived down by LAX actually had chickens in their backyard for a few years. No roosters though, just lady chickens. So there's no crowing or anything like that. And they got fresh eggs. So it was nice. I would pet sit often, and I don't do well with birds. And I was kind of scared of the chickens, so I never really tried to pick them up or touch them. So one time I was trying to leave earlier in the evening and put them up in their coop for the night. But I didn't know how to just pick them up and do it. So I ended up just whipping corn at them until they went in the damn coop. That took a while. And then they were getting older and they weren't laying eggs. And so then they were just there. And I laughed really hard because I was actually going to a TMI rehearsal in the afternoon. And I was like, I called my uncle, I was like, do you need me to put them in the coop while I'm like gone in case, you know, for safety reasons? And he was like, no, honestly, I hope a hawk gets one. I just want to be clear, we're from Michigan. My grandpa was a farmer.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, my grandpa was a farmer.
Exactly.
And if the animal's not serving purpose,
that's what I'm saying.
Taking up space.
Listen,
that DNA kicked in, and my uncle was like,
"Fry them up, baby. You ain't laying no eggs. Gotta pluck you and fry them up. You're gonna be substance somehow, by the way."
Yeah. So
you know what? Your chicken story is way better than my chicken story.
Oh well, and then the other really fast one is I did see by the McDonald's by their house. I saw a rooster, no joke, crossing the road heading towards the McDonald's, and I was like, "Dude, not that way! No, you don't want to go there."
Hey, at least that chicken sandwich would actually be real. Yeah, I said it, McDonald's. What's up?
Yeah, I think we all
real.
know.
I still love McChickens. Fuck
yeah. Oh my god, I love McChicken.
My chicken story is worse. I actually killed a chicken by accident once.
Oh no.
Yes, I was about, I want to say 4 years old. This is when I was younger, before my dad married my stepmom. We would go to actually I may have been after. Anyway, that's about it. This is when I was like 4 years old. I used to spend the summers at my grandparents' farm in Bryan, Texas. And, you know, of course, being a kid, you get bored, you're on the farm, you go explore and you know, go fuck with animals and shit like that. Not anything crazy. I wasn't out here like mutilating animals or like that. But I was like playing with this chicken. It was a dumb chicken. Like I had a little like a stick that was like as thin as my pinky, and I was just like poking it in the back, and it would flap around and then just run in the same circle. So I just kept poking it. I kept poking it, and it would flap around the circle, and then one more poke, and then it flapped, froze, and fell over. And I was like, "Oh, it's playing with me. It's playing dead. Like, you know, it's gonna get up." It didn't get up.
You didn't kill it though.
It didn't get up. I gave it a heart attack. I guess because of all the poking and all the scaring, it just like it overwhelmed the chicken's heart and it died. And I was devastated. Like I was
poor baby.
Atrociously devastated. I was just like, I killed a chicken. I can't believe I killed. You know what I'm saying? Because this is like my first experience with death. I didn't even know, like I knew the idea of death, but I had never been the cause of someone's death or something's death.
Yeah.
So I like panic. I run back inside and pretend like I run back to like the front porch because like technically we weren't allowed to be inside the house during the day. So I just like stayed there until the evening. And my aunt, I guess I went out there to feed the chickens for the evening, and she saw the dead. She saw the dead chicken, and she was like, "Who killed the chicken?" And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I've been around chickens. I don't even know what a chicken is. What are you talking about?
You're certainly not someone poking it with a stick. That's crazy talk. Who did that?
Yes. Like, yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, some psycho with a stick killed it. That's probably what happened. But anyway, so long story short, we end up I end up confessing because I feel guilty because I killed a chicken. And I'm not in trouble. My grandparents, my grandpa was like the most patient person in the world. He wasn't even mad. But however, my punishment was I had to defeather and kill the chick, prepare the chicken for dinner that night. So I had to go drain it of the blood. I had to fucking take off the head. I had to pluck out the. Oh, I mean, listen, it was deserved punishment. I killed it. It had to be used. Like, it can't just let it rot or whatever. So this
learned a lesson that day.
Learned my lesson. Don't fuck with the chickens no more. After that, hey, listen, no more poking of the chickens. I went out there, fed them, and left them the fuck alone after
that. Oh, man.
I'm not a murderer, people. I was 4 years old, okay? I was 4 years old. Don't come after me, bro. I was basically a farmer. I just didn't really understand the concept, because that's what happens to chickens on farms anyway. After they stop laying eggs, you kill them and eat them. Like, that's circle of life. So I didn't really do anything. I would not, like I said, it wasn't a mutilation. It was literally a heart attack. I gave him a heart attack.
Yeah.
That's it.
Unintentionally. You weren't like, I hope this chicken dies. You were just like, well, this is like, I'm no scientist, but I'm 4 and I can see I'm getting some kind of reaction when I.
That's really all it was. It's like, oh, it flaps. It was like, oh, it's stupid. It just keeps running in the same circle. I'm just gonna keep following it with this. Whatever.
Fascinating. Where were we? All right, the Sex and the City episode. Chicken stories. You know them, you love them.
Woo.
So meanwhile, Miranda is talking with her cat and is like, "Hey, it's dinner time." So she calls her usual Chinese place, and the waitress or whoever taking orders says, "Oh yeah, same order every night," and like giggles into the phone. Yes. And Miranda's like, am I in her fucking rut? And she feels pathetic. She's like, all I'm missing is like a Kathy cartoon on the fridge, and they're like, oh no, you're not that pathetic, don't worry.
What is that? Okay, I didn't get that reference. What is that?
Okay, so for a long time there was this comic strip just called Kathy.
Okay.
That was like a middle-aged woman, and it was always like her catchphrase thing was ack, like ACK, like I'm embarrassed or whatever, but she was always wanting chocolate. It was like the worst female stereotypes.
I see.
Like she was like a business lady, but like would get laid low by her period and really want chocolate. Wow. Blah 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 blah.
Was this like in a newspaper?
Yeah, it was like a nationally printed column.
Okay.
But it was like always a punchline because it was just so bad, but also it was very popular among like middle-aged women, especially like women in business, like go. It's a shitty comic though. And like I said, it's the worst sort of stereotyping you can think of.
Is it still around?
No, I think it ended, but like they even made fun of it on 30 Rock, where Liz Lemon said something like chocolate, 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 and like, because that's like the level of like humor of the cartoon.
Right.
Comic was like, oh, it's that time of the month. You know what I need? Chocolate. Like she was always like, oh no, I'm too fat for the swimsuit. Swimsuit season. Oh no, like just all that bullshit. It's terrible.
Okay. So I gotta look into that. It's funny, but I can see how very offensive that is for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not even offensive. It's just stupid,
Right. Like, you can try to call that satire, but it's like, no, that's just insulting. You're just trying to insult a core group of people, whatever.
Yeah. But like she was on like mugs and everything. It was just like a whole culture thing.
I remember that the act sounds very familiar. I feel like I've seen that definitely in newspaper as a kid or something.
Mm-hmm.
She
was the ultimate sign of like, middle-aged ladies stuck in a rut, which they're at middle. They're kind of middle-aged in their 30s. It depends how you look at it.
In 2001, this is technically middle-aged.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But whatever.
Now that's different. When I got like 50, that's middle-aged.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was in my 30s and I'm under 39, and I was still considered a young adult with cancer, and I was like, thank you. Wait, what do I have?
They had the twilight. You had the twilight of cancer.
I was like, the YA. I was like, oh my god, I'm a young adult still. Thanks. Yeah. Wait, what's wrong with my body? Oh, shit.
It's like, oh, you can still read Twilight. Also, you have cancer, so you can read that while you're doing chemo.
Yeah, win some, lose some. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're out chatting and they're talking about Kathy, and then they spot Steve and Aiden having lunch.
Like how?
I don't remember how they became friends. There's no like.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. Like,
I never figured out how that friendship formed.
Was Steve around when they dated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because the only time I remember Steve interacting with anybody's, I guess, boyfriend was when Carrie was dating the politician.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can remember. I don't remember him and Aiden like ever really interacting.
Their timelines do overlap.
They do overlap, yes.
Not by much, but they do.
Yeah, I don't.
And somehow they became like bros.
Oh, you know what? That one interaction. Remember when Aiden had that big furniture opening and Big showed up? I think Steve was there. No, so maybe he wasn't?
Nope.
Oh, then I don't know how the fuck they know each other.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Big and Aiden know each other.
I guess it's just I guess it's supposed to be just like understood that at some point they made a connection.
I'm sure in the to me minimal overlap between the two. They hit it off, and then they both got dumped. I mean, Aiden didn't really get dumped. He rightfully broke up with Carrie for being a dirty, stinking cheater. But and then did Miranda dump Steve? Yeah, yes. She did. Yeah. So they got some heartbreak there.
Yeah.
From that friend group. So they're bros. They're having some brewskis, but they're not alone because Carrie and Miranda are gonna like hide and not try to talk to him, but they're like, no, we gotta like toughen up and just take our lumps and say hi.
Question.
Yeah.
Would you have faced it, or would you have gone the other direction?
I don't know. I think I would have faced it.
Here's my thing. Low key, I probably would have gone the other direction, but also I understand. I also probably would have just faced it just because it's like, man, I ain't letting nobody walk me off my block. Like, fuck these guys. Yeah. Like, like fuck these people. Like, this is my neighborhood too. Like, fuck it. You know what I mean? But I understand the want to get out of the situation because
actually, I don't think I think I'm lying.
Anything.
I don't think I think I would have maybe tried to go the other way.
Yeah.
Because I it wasn't a dating thing, but somebody I knew from college who I worked on some of these like indie horror movies with, we didn't have a very good like relationship, like working with a friend. He wasn't like bad, but like we weren't like friends either. Right. And he was kind of rude to me about stuff. I saw him in the CVS by my apartment like several apartments ago, several years ago now. And I kind of saw him in line at CVS, and he kind of like saw me. but like neither of us did anything, and I like marched out of that CVS. I was like, this is my fucking CVS in Chinatown. Right. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
The fuck are you doing?
Yeah, bro.
This is as far as I was concerned, I was like, this is my turf. And it occurred to me later, I didn't actually know what part of town he lived in, so it could have been his turf too. I have no idea. But I just just sort of went the other way, and I think clearly that was his impulse too, was to not just say hi.
Alone. Yeah. Well,
I there was definitely sort of like flashes of recognition, and we were like, no. Neither of us want to talk.
We're not doing this.
Like I said, it wasn't. Yeah, it was just like a professional, friend thing. But I did not care for him. And I don't think he cared for me. In all fairness, so there you go.
There you go. Well, it gets worse for the girls because not only did they run into their exes, they run into their exes with new girlfriends.
Yeah, because they each have 2 beers in front of them, and they're like, and Carrie's like, would a date us drive you guys to drink real hard? And they're like, no. And then their dates come back from like the bathroom.
I liked and disliked this moment. I liked the moment for Aiden because he deserved to have somebody new. Steve,
he looks pissed the whole scene.
He really does. He really wants her to get the fuck out of here.
He does not want her around her. And I do not blame him because
also too, so like I said, I love that Aiden had a new girl. I didn't really like the fact that Steve had a new girl because he was kind of a whiny little bitch.
Yeah.
But dude, Aiden played like he was so like you were right. He was very pissed about her being there because even when she was like, "Good to see you," Aiden, he was like, he didn't even like answer in words. He let like a grunt out. It was like, yeah. He couldn't even like fathom the pretend niceness to say you too. He was just like, yeah, you.
Yeah, he's
exist.
like, hey. Side note, he has longer hair, which I don't hate. Goatee, which I absolutely
hate it. Yeah, that's what I thought the same thing too. I was like, he looks better, but also worse at the same time because of that fucking bullshit, like artistic. I paint in New York, goddamn goatee. Yeah.
I don't even remember him having this goatee, and I've seen this episode.
Right.
Don't even remember the goatee until today, and I was
blocked it out. That's why you wanted to remember.
In my head, it's all clean,
good self.
Yeah. It's not a good look.
Which is how I'm sorry, John Corbett. That's how you should be in everything. Like you're a clean shaved face guy.
Yeah.
Like you like. I'm sure you can grow a beard. You're probably very manly and all that other shit. But like, bro, you just look good with the shaved face.
Some guys
maybe a little bit of scruff. Maybe
absolutely pull off beards. Some guys need beards even. He does not need a beard, and he was not pulling off the goatee.
No, bro, you gotta be clean shaved. Or like I said, like a little shadow, like a little 5 o'clock shadow. You can probably pull it off. But
I think it's because he's kind of baby faced that the beard doesn't. It's not helping.
Yeah, I
don't know. But sometimes beards give guys jawlines too. So I don't know.
I will say though, that goatee mustache situation definitely made him look more menacing in this scene.
It did. It's like the Star Trek goatee. Yeah. Like you're in the evil parallel universe when Spock has a goatee.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah, dude. Because I mean, he definitely looked a little bit scary because he wasn't having none. And that's the thing too, man. Carrie don't stop, bro. Like even in that scene, she was still low key trying to flirt with him, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here, bro."
Yeah.
Like, we did the whole pleasantry thing. You can leave.
You can go.
I got a new girl. Get over it.
Yeah.
You fucked this up.
And it's like, yeah. And so then when they're at Charlotte's and helping her unpack, they're both annoyed that the guys have moved on. But then they keep talking about how easy it is for guys to move on and women tend to dwell. Lies. I know. I'm like, I feel like it
takes guys a lot longer to move on because most women, when they know they're about to break up, already start going through the stages of getting over the relationship before they even break up with the guy. Because most women decide, because they actually shown this, 80% of marriages and breakups happen because of the women usually in relationships. And most women, before they even get to the point of breaking up, have already started figuring out like if this is the right thing. They've already started, you know what I mean? Like most guys are just oblivious and they're just ended up being broken up with, and then they're just like, what the fuck?
Maybe if you guys weren't so fucking oblivious about shit, we are breaking up with you all the fucking time.
We are. You're right. That means y'all should be more direct instead of trying to drop little hints. Just be like, I need this. I want this. You don't do this.
We could all learn.
We could all communicate.
We could all learn.
That's fair. But yes, like most of the times, women have already started the process of like the breakup process. Even to be fair, this is the word I'm really trying to say. Most women have already started the grieving process before they even break up with the dude. So we're the ones left to like start the whole process by ourselves after you've already gone through like at least like step one of the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, that's when she said that, I was like, no, we don't move on that quickly. And if anything, if guys do move on that quickly, it's not a emotional thing. It's just a space filler. Like if me and you have been together for like 2 years, I probably like if we break up all of a sudden, I probably need like 2-3 women in rotation to like fill the void of our 2-year relationship. Just like as a band-aid. It ain't curing the wound, but that's what it would take. So stop it.
Yeah. Well, and then Carrie tries to claim she doesn't obsess over relationships, and Miranda's like, have you met Mr. Big?
Right. Yeah.
Like
I even said the same thing. I'm like, you know?
Yeah. And then later that night she's like pondering you know, for her article, and she wonders if like, oh, is the problem not all the boyfriends, but maybe us women? And I just wrote, I was like, well, I think anyone with a shred of self-awareness would acknowledge that perhaps you know, either both parties could be at fault, or perhaps you could be at fault, Carrie, because you fucking cheated on your fucking boyfriend. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because like, you know, there's mathematical shit you can put it, mathematical and statistical shit you can put to it. It's like, if you keep breaking up with these guys, these like great guys, and then like it's like for the same reason, what's the common denominator? It's you. Yeah. So maybe it's the guys you choose, or the kind of guys that you're attracted to, or maybe your behavior in the relationship. It's something that is it's something that you are doing that's keeping this cycle of breakups going. And in her case, yes, it's you, bitch. Like
it's you meet one asshole in the morning, you know, that you met an asshole. You meet assholes all day. Yeah. Maybe you're the asshole.
Right. And that's the thing too with her. It's the same thing, because it's like you had a good relationship in Ada. You chose to go back to the toxic one. And even in this episode, you still low-key kind of go back to the toxic one.
So, because who should call her out of the blue one morning but Big? I wrote, it's like she summoned him by talking about him. You know. Yeah. It's like he's got like a psychic radar.
He was gone for a while. Like it was like most of this whole season that we didn't even talk about, other than like the episode where she ran into Natasha. You know, that was like the last time like that we actually like talked about him.
Yeah, the back half of the season has been not, you know, obviously not very focused on him because of the breakup and the fact that she was trying to move on from all that and not be involved with anybody. But yeah, so he ends up at, you know, he tells her Natasha ended things, and Carrie's like, yeah, I fucking know. And then he asks her to lunch and says they need to talk, and she says she just says sure, no problem, we'll meet you there, meet you in Central Park at 2:00. Okay, bye.
But then her and Miranda are shopping later, and Miranda is like, hey, we don't want to go to this other exhibit on Saturday. She's like, no, I can't, I have work. Already a red flag. It's the fact you can't tell your best friend straight up what you're doing. You know it's wrong. You know it's fucked up. You know something ain't, like, maybe it's not wrong per se, because you know there's no right and wrong in a situation where that, but you know that it's not good for you, and you know that she's going to have an opinion that's going to be opposite of what your brain is thinking, and you just don't want to hear it.
And this scene is a lot of people's favorite Miranda moment, or one of their favorite Miranda moments, because she full on calls Carrie out. She's like, if you do this again with him, I'm not going to be there for you, because you turn into like a needy, whiny person. You like get totally lost in his bullshit. You know, it's a mistake. And how many times are you going to, you know, do this? You lose yourself every time you get with him. And
you lose something else as well. I mean, like, I don't know what it is, but you lose yourself, and you lose something else that like you had gained for yourself. Whatever positive thing that you gained for yourself, it's gone.
And it's like, you know, there's always the debate of like, as a friend, do you tell someone their boyfriend or whoever sucks? I think this is a different scenario because she's gone back to Big so many times, right? That there's enough like groundwork, and Miranda knows enough of it about Big to be like, do not fucking go back in there. You're crazy to do it. You get hurt every time. And you know, the subtext is, as her friend, she doesn't want to see her friend get hurt, and is also absolutely frustrated because her friend, you know, like won't stop going in the mousetrap, basically. Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's basically what she keeps doing. Yeah, it's like going right back to the same hurt that keeps hurting you over and over again. It's like, dude, at what point do you say enough? Well, like,
but Carrie gets defensive and throws back that Miranda cut Steve out and that she's super judgmental, which is not wrong, but you know.
Yeah, but she was right to cut Steve out because honestly, she was kind of going. Yes, I think that she has judged other guys in the past, like good guys that she could have had with, like going through old dude stuff when she found the tape and all this other stuff. So she has like messed up other relationships in the past. However, with Steve, she tried to like block her natural instincts of get rid of this guy and try to make it work. And he proved to her several times in their relationship that she should get rid of him. And even her friends were like, yo, what are you doing with this dude? Yeah. So like the fact that Carrie was like, oh, you just got rid of him. It's like, you kind of low-key pushed her to that. Yeah. Like y'all kept saying that like it was stupid that she was dating him.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and I think the difference too in this case is like, you know, Miranda's not choosing to go back to Steve over and over and over again the way Carrie is.
Right.
And that's the big difference, I think, between the two scenarios is like Carrie won't cut off the thing that's toxic in her life.
Right.
Where, yes, Miranda did, but like
she maybe it wasn't in the best way, but she had to.
Yeah.
That's
maybe the nicest way, but it had to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing too. Also, it was in that denial that made it end up being kind of the worst way because it was a boiling point and the pot boiled over. If she'd have just done it when she was first kind of feeling it in her gut, it probably would have been simple. She'd just been like, hey, they weren't. Because I mean, essentially the first time they broke up, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway.
So then Carrie gets home. She's expecting an apology voicemail and she does not get one. And I'm like, yeah, you don't fucking deserve one yet.
Yeah, you don't.
And she's like, I'm not going to call either because I mean, this is like the day of the fight. And this is like, and she says like, this is her first ever real big fight with Miranda. Like this is their first big fight as friends, like ever. Yeah. So it's, I get it. It's hard. So then Miranda calls her Chinese place and gets the same lady and hangs up and she's going to go down there and confront her. And then she discovers the lady taking orders just giggles.
Yeah,
like everything.
She's just like an airhead. Like it's just everything is hilarious to her. Like she said the number wrong, and she was like, "Ha ha ha ha, that's so funny." She's like, "Oh, ha, I said 73 instead of 70." Oh,
70, whatever.
Yeah.
And so but then she spots Steve at the restaurant because it turns out part of the reason she keeps ordering from there is that was her and Steve's place, and it reminds her of happier times. Oh.
Yes. It's just kind of cute.
So they're both alone. He's eating there alone too. And she jokes that she thought she got custody of the restaurant, which, do you believe in that? We've discussed it on my show that I work on full time. Like who, you know, if you went somewhere a bunch with somebody, does somebody get custody of the place? Or is it like, no, if you like it, you get to keep going.
That is hard. That is a hard thing because okay, for me, like it's hard for me to really get into that because most of the women, especially since I've been in LA, I've dated have been like in other smaller like cities, like you know Beverly Hills or fucking West Hollywood or fucking Hollywood, and I live in NoHo or like fucking Santa Monica. So it's like I wouldn't be there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like if I am, it's like I'm really going for like one specific reason, and I'm getting the fuck up out of there. You know what I mean? So like it's hard to navigate that, but I feel like in this situation, you know, because Manhattan is so small, it's big but small, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're running into exes again and shit like that, like two of their exes sitting together at once with like clearly Manhattan is somewhat small, or at least there's the circle of their life in Manhattan is kind of small. So I don't think you get to. First of all, how does Steve how could he afford anything in Manhattan? Like, that motherfucker had like no money.
Know, right? Like,
that's my confusion. Like, to get off before I even get to my point, like how the fuck is he even still in Manhattan? Like, you can't afford it. Like, clearly. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get.
No.
But like, I don't know. It's hard to navigate that because it's like, who should get what? You know what I mean? Like the memories are there no matter what. Like you're both haunted by the memories. So, you know, I would see it'd be like the thing with, you know, that ex-coworker of yours. Just be like, if we see each other, try to be pleasant. If not, don't
it's
say
fucking on site at the CVS, man. I'm just kidding.
You just come in there. Did I tell you?
Swinging for no reason. And he's like, I'm buying toothpaste.
He's like, this is ironic. You stabbed me and I was buying Band-Aids.
At least I'm in a CVS. I got a fighting chance. There's vodka and gauze. I can survive.
He said it's on site. Oh, man, that's funny. So that's hard to navigate because, like, I don't think that nobody should get free. Like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Because okay, I'll give you a scenario that does apply to this, but with something different. Like there's certain shows that like I introduced my like exes to, or like me and an ex watched together. However, I don't think I can't like not watch that show now just because like we had watched it together. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna stop watching Ozark, my guy, just because we watched it together. It's a good ass show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sorry,
I think it's one of those like silly things, and then you're stuck still obsessing about something like because you put yourself in this goofy trap of like,
right,
you know, whatever. I think the custody
like you're always going to be haunted by ex relationships. Like, because like I said, even though, you know, it's been a while since I've, you know, these other exes that I dated, I still pass by these areas every now and then and be like, oh I dated that person that lived there, or I dated that person that lives around here, or whatever. Like, so what's the point of like trying to, you know, segment off, you know, parts of the city? Also, like New York, come on, stop it. Stop it.
But they kind of chit chat. She tells Steve about the fight, you know, and then she kind of asks, she's like, was I that judgmental? But more importantly, she asks if she threw him away. And he's like, no. And he's like, and the only two people who really know what happened in our relationship is you and me. Carrie doesn't know everything.
Loved that quote so much. It's like, the
and
only people that know what happened between you and I is you and I. I wrote that down. I was like, that is such a beautiful fucking quote that came out of that character. It's just surprising because like, dude, nobody can tell you what went wrong or whatever in your relationship. Like you can ask friends for advice and shit like that, but really the only two people that knows the entire story of your relationship are the two motherfuckers that were involved. Unless you're literally on the phone telling everybody what you do every second you're together, no one knows. Just y'all. So you know what I'm saying? Like you made the decision that was best in that time with the knowledge you had, with what you you know, the experience in life that you had to make the choice. You can't let nobody else like, oh, you did this to this person. Like, I mean, now Carrie, she did like pretty plain and simple. She cheated on Aiden. Aiden broke up with her. You fucked up. That's different. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what the in between shit of like the relationship that her and Aiden had. Like none of that matters. You cheated on him. He left you.
But then he also jokes because she's like, I yelled at her about going back to Big. He's like, oh, that's pretty par for the course. But as people have told me, and I've learned, like anger is very often the secondary emotion for whatever the situation is, and I think that's what Miranda operates in a lot, probably too much, but she's not there's definitely anger there, but it's like she's more, I think, generally more like scared for Carrie and fearful for Carrie, but that tends to come out as anger more than like I'm scared of you getting hurt. It's like
it's like when your parents spank you when you almost touch the stove. You're like, why are you beating my ass when I almost got hurt? Like should you be? But it's like it's the fear. It's like you almost hurt yourself. And I gotta tell you that it's bad. I gotta show you it's bad in some way. So that's kind of what that lashing out was. But also Carrie needed to hear it. Like somebody needed to tell her.
To hear it too.
It probably would have hurt less coming from Samantha. I will tell you that.
Samantha just would have delivered it differently though too.
It wouldn't have been as direct.
She
just would have been like, honey, there's more dick out there. What are you doing?
I mean,
there's so much more cock out there.
That's about what she would say. spot on.
Yeah.
And then I love the conclusion of this scene too, when she's about to order her usual order, and then she goes, "Wait, I want to look at the menu. There's so many options." And then they just cut to the waitress who looks bored as fuck, and it was one of the funniest cutaways I've ever seen in my life. Like that poor waitress is like, "Ma'am, I don't give a flying fuck. She's like, just order something.
I don't care, you privileged white woman. Just order some fucking food so I can go home.
Food so I can get the food out the door, get you out the door, and get my fucking tip."
You're right. The tip that you're probably not gonna give me.
Yeah.
I mean, Samantha, I feel like, Miranda is a very good tipper. She seems like because it's a status thing. She'd be like, 25%, 30%, even if the service sucks, still. You know what I mean?
And then, so Carrie realizes that she obsesses about all her relationships, not just with men, but with her friend, like Miranda. And that's what she has the wake-up call to get the roosters moved inside. Whoop-de-doo.
Yes.
So then before her lunch with Big, she calls Miranda and they make up. And Miranda's like, "Of course I'll be there for you." And her advice, though, is don't let Big kiss you. That's where you seem to get into trouble.
I agree with that.
Amen. Absolutely true. Mm-hmm. And then they do this little gag where they're on the restaurant is on the lake in Central Park, or a lake in Central Park.
Yes.
And they're on the dock, and they flirt, say hi, and he leans in, I think, to just kiss her on the cheek more. Although
she said no kiss. She didn't say what kind of kiss. She said don't let him kiss you. Period.
Mm-hmm. So no kind of kissing. And Carrie swerves real hard and falls in the pond and takes him with her.
Hilarious.
Very funny.
Yes.
I actually really enjoyed that little moment.
Me too. Funny. Yeah, it was pretty good.
So they go to his apartment to dry off and shower and everything, and they're both chilling in robes.
I was like, really? Because like
danger zone.
Yes, because like you're already naked.
Yep.
And then she comes and sits on the bed next to him in just a robe. He's in just a robe. Like, all it takes is for him to like touch her leg or kiss on the cheek or something, and they about to get it on. But
dangerous. But
did not
she
happen.
Stays strong. Our girl finally stays strong after 3 goddamn seasons of this bullshit. Because
gave it to her. I was like, all right.
He's like, I think, we screwed things up, and she's like, yeah, we did, not just between them, but just in general, for their whole lives.
Yeah.
And he's like, what were we thinking? She's like, I don't know. And he's like, man, I was hoping you'd have answers. He fucking would try to offload that shit on her, wouldn't he?
Of course he would. Of course he would.
And they joke that they're like war buddies, and he even admits that he like feels better living alone. And they're lying. They get dangerously close. They both kind of lie back on the bed.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I'm gonna go," and he's like, "Nah, stay." And so, by the way, when he first calls her, he's like, "I'm painting a wall of my bedroom red, like an accent wall."
Yeah.
And she kind of sits up and she's like, "Look, we're like that wall. We're good in theory, but we don't quite work."
Right.
And she realized
I didn't mind the red, to be honest with you. Just a side note.
I don't love a red wall. I don't like
me either. I don't love it.
Stress me out.
Yeah.
It's not a relaxing color for me. I would have done like a soft, like kind of blue-gray situation, maybe a light.
Yeah, I had an ex that had like a red wine colored accent wall. Red flag. Red fall. Is it red? It is red wall equal red flag. In your mind? It might.
No, it's just too intense a color for me as far as like, because some people like love reds and find them relaxing, and to me it's a stronger color that like a red, like I've seen like red dining rooms and stuff, and sometimes it borders on like blood colored, which is weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, are you guys all fucking vampires? Why'd you decorate this way? It's a choice, and it's not for me.
As a kid, I grew up with red and black walls.
Really?
In my room. Me and my brother, we got to choose them too. So it wasn't like my parents just like forced it on us. We got to choose what color paint, and we chose red and black. I couldn't tell you how we got to that conclusion. I was like 12 or 13. Who knows where it came from?
We only ever had shitty wood paneling.
Hey, that's all still probably better than red and black. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely not as intense.
Like as a kid, it's probably okay, but I'm sure as an adult, if I had red and black walls, probably would have something to say.
Red and black, that's intense.
That's very, very intense colors. Yeah, for sure.
Strong choices, young
yeah.
fellas. And then she kind of leaves and she's like, she knows they're not just exes anymore, but she doesn't really have a name for what they are now either. But she just knows they're in like a different place. And I think it's, I guess, a better place. And kind of that in theory, she won't go back to him.
In theory, yes. Yeah, it seems like she's. I mean, no. But it's not. Not trying to look into the future because we already know the future. But like in this moment, she seemed like she kind of made a stand.
It's so frustrating too to like. Yes, I know the future of what's gonna happen, obviously, in the show, and I know you know that one plot.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating to see this like kind of growth from her, knowing that she's going to go back.
Yeah, it kind of it makes it less impactful on the viewer. Like, that's what sucks about like going back to rewatch this stuff or going back to visit it as a new person watching it, because it's like I know the future, and this is supposed to be a moment where like I'm supposed to feel something good for the character, but like knowing like you full of shit, bro.
Yeah, like you're full. Yeah, you're fucking full of it, because I know you're going to eventually, sometime, and you can argue, and I do tend to argue, like even if I know like a spoiler or something like that, sometimes the how do you get from there is interesting, and that's the case with the show. It's still fun and enjoyable, like how they get to them being endgame, so to speak. But at the same time, it's frustrating to see the growth and then know it's all gonna crumble.
It's crazy.
Whatever, she had it coming for that dumb little accent she did on the rooftop anyway.
Fair enough. Yep. Give it. Yep. Haven't forgot about that. That's for sure. So, tell the people where they can find us, Elizabeth.
Well, you can find us most easily on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast. Right?
Yeah.
Show Me What Podcast.
Yep.
And that will take you to our Twitter and our Facebook and our YouTube and all that other fun stuff. We're getting lots of views on YouTube. We continue to thank you. It's really fun and cool to see that grow and grow and grow. It tells me somebody somewhere is enjoying it.
Wherever you are, thank you for watching and listening.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Elizabeth Movies. Chris, where can they find you?
You can find me on all the things at Mack Combs, MackDiddcombs.
We're, as always, offering the discount code for Arlo Australia candles.
Yes.
Use promo code ShowMeMiss for, was it 10% off? No.
Yeah, 10% off. 10% off. Yes.
10% off for your orders. And like I said earlier in the show, we're going to put some resources in the show notes for anyone who needs help in Texas or Idaho or beyond regarding, trans healthcare, trans support resources, and things like that. Because we do not fucking like what's happening for you guys.
No, we don't.
And it's not cool, but hopefully if you're watching or listening and you need those things, hopefully us putting them in there helps.
Yes.
It certainly doesn't hurt.
Yes.
So wishing everybody the best with that. And until then, we will see you guys next time.